But I do feel a lot more eyes on me when I am walking around.
In a good way or bad way?
In a lingering but a little bit too long, and I notice that your head is also turning as I am continuing down this path kind of way.
It's the Colombia Podcast Show.
Welcome to the Colombia Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Joel.
And you are?
I am Josephine. Hi.
Josephine. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you?
It's good to see you.
It's good to see
Again.
you too. Yes.
We don't even know her.
No, barely.
She was just walking on the
girl.
street, and we're like, "You want to be
Yeah.
on a podcast?" She
But
said,
you
"Of
look a little
course."
different. You're different for these parts. Would you like to be on our show?
And I was like, yep.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
come in.
actually, you might not recognize her from the crowd.
They
that
all
we were in.
look the same.
Who's they? Wow, this is that type of. Wow. All right. Well, let's start over this episode.
I meant women.
Women all look the same. That's true. So
No, she did actually brief me on when we met, and I was extremely drunk, so I don't remember.
Okay, so I remember actually you were Carla, who was featured on a past episode. Her student in Spanish.
No.
Right. You were in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Oh,
You were her student
shit.
in jiu-jitsu?
No, so
No.
wait
I'm
a second. Wait a second. Let's step back.
You
Okay, so let's
laughed
put it this
because
way.
you know that would've
We
been funny.
met during a UFC fight at Patrick's. They were showing a UFC fight there, and you
Yep.
sat down.
Oh,
with
I
Carla
remember
beside us.
now.
Yes.
Yes.
You remember now.
I remember now.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
they
remembers
came
now.
in briefly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
Briefly.
briefly.
My
yeah.
dad was there.
Yes,
Yes.
your dad was
yes.
there.
Fighting UFC.
Yes.
And she said, "Wow, your dad's really good."
Yeah.
And then you left.
Your dad got the fighting power. You got the looks. That's the fucking
And I got the brains.
You got the looks and the brains. No, but that's when we met, and at that time you didn't really speak much, but now you speak a lot.
Yes, exactly.
Where did you learn to speak?
It was a couple days after the UFC fight, and then I kind of started picking it up. I was like, oh, this is how I use my mouth, and this is
You got
how
it
I
knocked
make
out of you?
sounds. I was like, oh.
By the way, I know for like if there's Colombian people watching this, because we hope to translate all of these episodes in the future.
Very
there
far
are-
future.
She's from Toronto, Canada, from what I know.
Yes.
And I guess I'm from Toronto, Canada also. And we all look different out there. So not everyone from Toronto, Canada looks like Laura Serna, which is like a white girl with blonde hair. We all, it's the truth. She's over there.
Oh, okay, okay.
We all look a little different. We're from one of the most diverse places in the
Very
in the
multicultural,
world.
yeah.
And why did you end up here, Toronto girl?
Well, I
Fell in
right
love.
now, right now, Canada isn't really for me, and I prefer traveling and seeing the world, and that's kind of how.
What do
I
you mean
ended up
Canada
here.
isn't for you?
I think a majority. The biggest reason is that I grew up there, and after a certain point, I was a little bit bored, and I did a study abroad in Singapore.
Okay.
And when I did that study abroad, I started traveling a lot more, and then I saw, the world is kind of really big,
Yeah.
and there's a lot to see. So
How long ago was that?
that was, what year are we? 22. It was 2016. So
2016. So you're
do the math for me, 'cause I'm not really good at
7
that.
minus sine cosine. 3?
7?
I don't know.
it was
Okay,
a couple years
Let's go
ago.
with
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
6.
6. Okay, someone said it was 6.
6 years ago.
6 years
So
ago.
6
You
years
guys
ago.
are the Asians
Yeah.
here. You should know math.
That's the thing. I'm really bad at math, so I will.
The only thing
That's
I've
the
said
name of
is
this
actually
episode, the one
derogatory
Asian
things.
that
I'm
does
sorry.
not know math.
But I-
Josephine.
But
Let's go.
I got a question. So you came from Toronto. How long ago did you come to Colombia?
So I came for the first time in October. So I'm really, really new to Colombia. And
Why?
I came because the company that I currently work for is predominantly Colombian. So it's got Colombian roots. And a lot of my coworkers are from here. So I wanted to meet them in person because I joined the company.
Rappy?
No.
Well,
So
I don't know,
she's
what
a
the fuck does that
rappy?
come- I don't know. What-
She'd
what-
be
what-
like,
what- you're
deliver.
you're a rappy? I
She
don't know,
actually
you deliver-
delivered our beers, and we asked her to be
Yeah,
on the
I don't know.
podcast.
She came here with the beers. Okay, what
No,
company?
tell us
Okay.
about this. A lot of people want to know. The reason I ask is because a lot of people want to know how they can come to Colombia and stay in Colombia.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay, so basically at the beginning of the pandemic, I started at a job at a place called Voice 123. So Voice 123 is a voiceover marketplace. We connect voice actors with jobs.
Wow.
And the founder was Colombian. The CEO is now somebody different, but because the founder was Colombian and the company started in 2003, like very long time ago, a lot of the employees today are still from Colombia.
Okay.
So given that, and I've been working remotely with them, just seeing them on Zoom, like seeing this much of them for over a year and a half, I was like, I want to see this part of you. Like, I want to see.
Wait a minute.
You
what?
want to see that part of that? I don't understand why. I'm
Okay, there's this thing.
I'm just happy seeing your face. You just,
No, there's this.
You want to see from the crotch down.
I want to
Belly
see
button
everything.
down,
I want to
button. You
see
wanna see everything.
everything. I
okay,
have
cool.
this like.
That's nice.
I'm really obsessed with knowing how tall everyone is.
So you're trying to? Oh, I thought you were trying to transition to porn.
No.
I don't know. I was like, I don't fucking okay, but good.
Okay,
I,
so-
I just really want to know how tall everyone is. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I will come to Colombia when it's safer, like COVID restrictions die
Right.
down and whatnot. So I came in October. I really liked it. I stayed until Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I went home to Toronto. Went home, there was a lockdown, and then my mind was basically made up. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Why is this? Why is this? You can't do this because I may have felt this, and people have heard my reason for why I couldn't do it. But what is your like? You were born in Canada,
Yes, yes.
and you grew up in Canada.
Born and raised in Toronto, and I feel like I was pretty much sheltered in this one community bubble for about 18 years. And then after that, starting, going to university, seeing the world, studying abroad, I was like, oh, there's a lot to break out of, and there's and it's endless. Like there's so much to see. So I'm definitely not done. And one of the things that really drew me back was just my experience here and the people I met, and I also really wanted to learn Spanish, and that kind of transitions into your question, how do you stay longer? I ended up applying for a student visa, so I'm working remotely and also studying Spanish right now. So I've got a year here, and I really hope to get better with my Spanish.
In regards to the student visa, did you go through like a law firm or someone that helped you do that? How did you get that?
So I was doing some research into some law firms and into some agencies, but at the end of the day, I realized that I could do it myself. So I just ended up doing the process online. It's pretty straightforward, and after just submitting the application and paying, you wait a couple of weeks, they get back to you. I had to go into the consulate in Toronto to get the visa like printed and stamped on my passport, and that was pretty much it. It was.
And what's your visa?
Oh, sorry.
It's just it's called a visitor visa. So I'm not going to any universities here. I'm just going to a private academy.
Institution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you got so you were in Canada when you got the visa.
Yes.
Were all the paperwork, was it in Spanish or in English?
It was in Spanish, but there was a button where you could translate it to English. But then the button where you translated to English made the whole site break. So I just
how you say button, like so Canadian. It's very Canadian.
So you had to do it in Spanish.
I had to do it in Spanish.
So for those of you guys
Yeah.
that are interested in coming to Colombia, and maybe you're in Canada or in the United States, you're probably going to have to know some Spanish, or at least have someone that speaks Spanish
Or
for you.
Learn to know how to say button.
Or not break the website with
or
the
you
button.
or you do the form in English and then you just remember what you wrote, and then you
Where
put a
the
new tab
locations
and you're
were?
like, okay, Spanish time, okay, because I don't know why it just broke. on
Okay.
me.
Okay.
It's okay. And so this process for you, how long did this filling out these forms and thing take? Like if somebody else were going to do the same process as you, they're like, wow, because this is actually a very common problem. People come, they visit here, they come here, to party, maybe do some blow, get whatever. And
A lot of
and then
I've been
after
doing that for 11 years.
and then maybe see
I'm
some
ready.
waterfalls, and then they're like,
There it
wow, I just really want to stay here like us. And I stayed here because of a business visa, and starting that whole thing was crazy. You stayed here, you figured it out, because actually I recommended Josephine to a lawyer that was on the show here, Alan Gongora, and his law firm. And I didn't actually know this. She just disappeared off the planet. I thought that Alan killed her, and she, that was the end of her history. And then she's like,
It's
I'm
very
back.
possible because
You know,
he's kind
I
of
know,
like
he's a little shady,
serial
shady
killer
fucking guy.
looking guy.
Yeah.
No,
And-
but actually his firm, after we talked, they recommended me, you know what, I think you can do it yourself.
So they recommended you to
They
do
were
it
like,
yourself.
yeah,
Okay.
because it's the visitor V, like this student, and you're not going to the university and whatnot, it's possible that you can do it yourself. Like so that's why I ended up doing more research myself and.
So this is not a student, because I thought you were on a student visa. You're on a visitor V. But like, what
so
is
there's
that?
two student visas. There's the M visa for students and the V visa. I think the M one is for the university students.
Okay.
And the V one is for the private
Oh, I see.
private academy.
Private institution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So my entire process, I think it was pretty fast. It took about, I took like maybe half a day to just decide and fill out the form and pay. And then in a week, they were like, oh, you can apply, you can schedule an appointment at the consulate.
Okay.
So when I did that, then I went and they did everything during my appointment.
Did they interview you, ask you about what the this institution that you were gonna or this private?
So I think what took the most time was getting the paperwork from the school. So the school you have to pay the school and you have to agree with them, like to go through contracts like, oh, I'm going to do minimum of 10 hours a week at the school. It's going to be this long, blah, 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 like basically go through a contract. And it took them about 2 weeks to give me the paperwork.
Okay.
However, it was during like the
Pandemic.
holidays.
Yeah, the holidays.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, I guess nobody was really working. The entire process, 2 through 3
Is there a minimum requirement in terms of the number of hours and number of weeks and all of that? Like you got a 1-year visa, so you
I
can
got a
stay
1
here
year.
for 1 year, no
Yes.
problem. But what was your minimum requirement? Do you remember?
The only thing is 10 hours a week and to like pass the exams.
Oh.
Yeah.
That brings me to another question. Is there someone actually checking that you're going to class?
I'm not sure. I know for the university, yes, there are people checking.
Is that
but
called a snitch? A little snitch?
Yeah, like
Well, she was not
snitching
in
to
class.
immigration.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not in class.
Yeah.
Send her back
That
to
could be a job.
her
Imagine that.
third
We
world
just-
country of
There-
Just
Toronto.
quit and be snitches up in the English classes or Spanish
there
classes.
are schools where it says specifically like if you miss X amount of classes, they
Yeah.
will report you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this school is going to report, but
I don't think Colombia
see.
reports.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Colombia does not report on this
Okay.
one.
So
but
I've
yeah.
got a burning question. So you've been here about 5 months, since October.
yeah.
Since October. So what has been your experience here in Colombia? And as an Asian woman, regardless.
That says it all. As an
Yeah,
Asian
just
woman.
as an Asian woman, what's your experience here
You're
in
like
Colombia?
1 of 5
I
in
mean,
the whole country.
Okay. Fair.
So how do you? Yeah, it's true. It's fair. Yeah.
Fair.
So how is that?
I think what surprises people the most is when I am able to speak to them in Spanish and they're like, "Oh, entiendes?" I'm like, "Yeah, sí." But I do feel a lot more eyes on me when I am walking around
In a good way or bad way?
in a lingering but a little bit too long, and I notice that your head is also turning as I am continuing down this path kind of way.
Creepy.
But Colombian men do that regardless. It's any woman. Like
They're
honestly,
creepy
like,
men. It's
I
a
not
creepy
just
man
not just
culture.
men, just like a lot.
oh,
of
women also.
people
I wish
in
if that could
general.
happen.
Well, there's 2 type of people. Oh well, I guess we're in 2022,
people.
so
All
old people.
many-
There's men and women, so they both look at you.
I just notice stares, like
Yeah.
just longer lingering stares.
And
like
you
this.
feel
Longer
uncomfortable
layering
about it?
stairs.
No,
You
I
don't feel uncomfortable enough to leave. You wanted to come back.
no, I don't think it's uncomfortable. It's just more. I guess it doesn't really happen in Toronto because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really multicultural there
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
You're common.
Yeah.
Very, very common.
Yeah, it's not like people, Asian people are running here to seek a better life to
Yeah.
Colombia.
Yeah, that's true. And so you feel, but do you feel safe? Do you feel, what does it feel like for you as an Asian woman, I would say Asian North American woman, which is totally different. How do you feel being here?
I know that I'm very aware that I'm in bubbles, right? Like I am in the neighborhood of like Laureles, Envigado, Poblado. Yes, very bubbles. And because of that, I feel quite safe. And I am, like if it's dark out, I will take a taxi and I will take those precautions. I won't walk down a empty street. So because of that, I've felt pretty safe so far. But I haven't gone anywhere else outside of the places that people would recommend me to go.
And
So
assuming that you have another Asian Canadian friend out there in Toronto, would you recommend them coming here, or what would your recommendation to be to another Asian woman that's Googling or YouTubing what's it like to be Asian in Colombia?
I would recommend them to come. I think that a lot of people told misconceptions about Colombia. At least in my family, they have a very different view of Colombia. They think narcos and that's about it, you know.
Yeah.
But and I tell them like it's not like that, and you have to come and see it for yourself because it's a really beautiful country, and I guess that's why I came back.
So your family's at least watches Narcos. Me and Andrew's family are so poor, we don't have Netflix out there, so we're good here.
No, my
We're-
family
okay.
lived Narcos, so we left in
family did.
1986.
We don't have Netflix. We just have other services that we,
Pirate.
yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't say that.
You got the VPN.
Sneak it in, yeah.
All right. Well, other than that, do you have any other thoughts, ideas about Colombia that you'd like to share before we sign off?
With friends and family, yeah. Tell 'em.
I mean, I'm still in the process of exploring the country, and next week I will be going to Cali for the first time, so I'm very excited
Nice.
about that.
Nice.
Especially after talking about the
Yeah.
drinks and
How
stuff.
about the drinks? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you know how to dance salsa?
I'm going to learn. I can't dance. I am like, don't
No,
even
don't.
look at
Well,
me.
you,
Well,
you
you-
well, first of all, the first thing you got to do is you got to change your mindset and start saying that you can dance.
Do
First
like
of all.
jujitsu with them and throw
Yeah,
them on
you
the
do
floor. Like, you could
jujitsu?
just fucking-
Wait a minute. How have we not talked about
That's,
this?
but that's
That's
how she
where
met Carla.
Like,
That's what
this is why she feels
thought
safe
she
in
was here
Colombia.
talking about jujitsu.
This is why she
And
feels
now we
safe
come
in
here talking
Colombia.
about
She
her
knows how to
emotions
do
and being an Asian
jujitsu.
woman.
She could walk out there and be our escort. So you know jujitsu.
Escort? You mean like a prepago? That's
No,
that's
not
what
an
it is.
escort.
Okay, because
Why does
okay,
everything
that's
has
not-
to be so sexual with
because-
you?
No, but it's not like an escort. Okay,
yeah,
that's
well,
not
you don't
trans-
know what-
okay,
bodyguard.
never
Yeah,
mind.
escort is also a bodyguard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you don't know how to dance, so you're gonna go learn in Cali. You got to know how to dance.
I will. Yes.
Yeah,
that-
you'll
that's
learn
the
how
goal.
to dance. All right. So thank you for being on the podcast. It was the Colombia podcast. Make sure to follow her on Instagram. If she wants to share her Instagram, she can, and we'll put it on the
And
description.
if not, she just kicks your ass.
Do we have any questions from the audience before we take
Yeah.
off?
Does
Any
anybody have
questions?
questions for the one
Shiv
Asian
is
woman?
always. Shiv wants to ask if you're single.
Oh, wait, he's gonna do it in a very British. Oh, you're single. So, oh, you're single. Oh, you're single. Oh, you're single.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead,
Yeah, go
Shiv.
ahead,
My
Shiv.
question's really simple. You guys didn't ask her what she does for a living.
I know.
What do you do for a living?
Not that shallow, Shiv.
I currently work in branding and content creation. I studied media production in Toronto.
How are we doing over here with this media production here?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty.
Pretty
Because
guerrilla.
you're working for the Colombian Canadian company, or what? Was it the person that founded it was Colombian, or is that a whole different story? Like the company you work for currently
yes. is
you don't have to mention it.
it's called Voice 123.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
The owner was Colombian. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're
it
doing
was
well with that.
Colombian.
You're doing
Yeah.
really well with that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed there.
Are you
Nice.
single?
I am single.
Anybody looking?
Are you
for a
straight?
Anybody looking?
No,
for
I'm just kidding.
anybody? Hey, let me tell you.
Well, I don't know. You do jujitsu. Are you
is that-
straight?
hey,
I am
anybody
straight,
looking
but
for a
okay.
sugar mommy
I,
that likes cultural diversity? Josephine.
All right. Thank you guys for joining.
thank
We'll
you.
see you guys next time. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Well, we
Thank
gotta
you.
give
It was a
her claps.
pleasure.
Thank you very much, Josephine.
Thank you.
All right. Round of applause.